Hello my dear friends, and welcome to my channel. Don't forget to make yourself a cup of coffee or hot chocolate with marshmallow if you want, because today we have very interesting stories, and one of them is a story about a woman who tried to steal OP's friend's laptop and got what she deserved. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Okay, this is a whirlwind of a story, and names have been changed for obvious reasons. My friend Anthony and I were walking down a busy boulevard about a block from where we lived so he could meet this girl he had been seeing, as she just lived in the next neighborhood over. We're both juniors in high school, and despite him being a year older than I am, looks a few years younger than what he is, probably tops around 5'5". I myself am not that tall, probably 5'8", have a little bit of a beard, wearing blue and white jacket and a brown straw hat on. It should be noted though that puberty hit me very hard when I was younger, and I've been a bass baritone since I was 14. In this story I'm 17 years old. Even though I'm not very physically imposing, I sound a lot older than what I am. Kind of like Sam Elliott. This comes up later. So Anthony and I are walking casually down the sidewalk, and we can see the girl he's going to meet a bit of ways off. We wave as she approaches, and she starts walking with us, and we talk for a bit. Very personable girl. She happens to mention she has an overprotective brother named Damien that keeps her in the house, and she just barely escaped so she can meet my friend and I. As she digresses about her brother, I can't help but judge him as she tells me how physically abusive he is towards her being about 4'10" and barely 100 pounds didn't make me assume any better of him. And granted, I don't believe everything everyone says, but I keep it in mind. Also, she tells me he's still recovering from having his lungs pumped or something from overdosing on house paint or something, so he shouldn't be able to have caught up to her. Oh my god, it's him. And she bolts, leaving my friend, and I look in the direction she was looking at, but it's too bright. Florida sun. And I begin to make out the figure from the bottom up. His shoes were those flat-sole iridescent goofy ones that were like skater shoes or something. Pale hairless legs like an old man, gym shorts that were oddly low. And a generic shirt that said gamer or something on it. He was super pale with really red hair, which made me wonder if I was blinded by the sun or just his gingerness. His eyes were so small that they made me squint looking at him. And I just couldn't stop thinking that he looked and dressed like an elongated 8-year-old, despite him being at least 5'10". Yo, which is you screwing with my girl? I couldn't help but think that was a weird way to refer to your sister. Like in a family tree got no branches sort of way. Anthony spoke up very meekly, "Damien, please leave us alone," as he looked down. Seeing how timid Anthony was, given Damien some confidence and took steps forward with his fist up and started pushing my friend, saying, "Jerks who screw with my girl get their wig split." I have to be honest, my reactions were delayed because I was having a hard time trying to make sense of what he was saying, and being that I did not have the Rosetta Stone on hand, I quickly surmised he was what they call an idiot. I stepped between him and my friend and told him to back off. He was surprised by my assertiveness and backed away, calling me a witch. I know it's a fool's game, so I just said, "I can deal with that, let's go, Anthony." But the dude would have none of it and kept following us, calling us witches and telling us we wouldn't want to fight him cause of how hard he is. "You can't beat me cause I'm so hard, son." God, this guy isn't doing himself any favors when it comes to proclamations of self that can be taken way out of context. He eventually went around us and started doing the same thing from the other direction. He got real close and grabbed me by my jacket. Just then a woman on a moped screamed at us from the road. Got up and ran over to us screaming, "Stop, stop, stop." She came up to me and Damien, and I thought, awesome, an adult to defuse the situation. She then pushes me and starts hitting me with her purse. "Get away from my baby." Oh crap, it's his mom. "Yeah mom, show him how hard we are." I'm beginning to think there's something really wrong with his family. My friend Anthony yells for everyone to stop just as the police show up to pull everyone apart. The woman calls me a harasser and begins to break down into hysterics and screaming that I tried to touch her son. From what I gather, they stopped, not because of the altercation, but because the mom left her moped in the road, which has stopped traffic. We're separated and interviewed by different officers. I'm about 20 feet from everyone, and the officer starts asking me questions of my ID and such. I give him my school IDs, which clearly state I'm a junior and the current year. He bends it betwixt his hands and tells me I'm full of crap and throws it on the ground. I tell him my account, and when I'm done he looks at me, still wearing glasses, and says, "People like you make me sick." I answer, I don't know what you mean. What are you doing hanging out with a boy his age? I tell him that we're neighbors just hanging out and we're best friends. He can attest to that. At the officer says you're not in the system. Dead silence. I say okay, I mean I'm not 18 yet and haven't gotten in trouble with the law before. Crap. He yells and slams his hand on the hood of his patrol car. And looks up at me. Seeing how it had no effect, he slams his hand again and says, you want to do hard time? No sir. I don't think your butt can handle hard time. I don't know if it's my mental filter or not, but all these double entendres are starting to really weird me out. Hard time. Hard time. Each time he says it, he slams his hand onto the car. In my mind, he is now Officer Cringe. I know I said I wouldn't use my real name, but I got to for a comment he made. What's your real name, boy? Jesse. Well, it's a good thing you have a name like that because they're gonna call you Jesse in prison. How do you feel about that? Okay, that's my name. No, they're gonna call you the girl version of Jesse. Jesse, with an I. Yes, Jesse with an I. I think he meant Jessica, but he got caught up in the moment. But they sound exactly the same, they're just written different. You could see the gears turning in his head, but his only retort was, what'd I tell you about being a smartbit? I'm sorry sir, I don't remember you telling me that. There you go again, that's it. And he brought out the handcuffs. Just then, divine intervention. An officer who happened to be my school resource officer showed up and told them that I was who I said I was, and so was my friend Anthony, and to just let us go. As we were led away, the crazy mom screamed at us, calling us children harassers and idiots who picked on her son, and that we should be in jail for trying to pick up her daughter. We listened as my school resource officer explained to her that no one got hurt, we were all underage, in fact her daughter was older than both of us, and that maybe next time she shouldn't draw so much attention to herself if she's wanted by police, as she and her son were supposed to be under house arrest, and now she's going to have an extended sentence, and also fined for abandoning her vehicle in the middle of road, assaulting a minor, me, and operating a vehicle without a license. She lost some of the confidence that comes with being really that stupid, and they put her hands behind her back and slapped the cuffs on. Damien turned to me and pouted and pointed like an old Russian woman and screamed like freaking Kailu as he had handcuffs placed on him. His cheeks turned as red as his hair, and I thought he was either going to go Super Saiyan or piss himself. He screamed that one day he would get me back for this as he was put into the squad car with his mom, both of them screaming in the back seat and collectively combining their IQ so that it almost reached double digits. My resource officer offered to drive us home, but Anthony and I said we'd walk, and on our way home we discussed perhaps he should date someone else before he got his wig split. You should get that cop fired, he's an idiot who is a cliche thinking he's above the law since he's a cop. Seriously, what the hell is wrong with him? For a bit of backstory, this happened about a few months ago. Me and my friend, both 14, had known this kid who used to go to our school last year, also 14, and we both hated him. Reasoning for this is that he was just an idiot to everyone. He's that person who joins in on a conversation and completely changes the subject to something else before. Also another thing, he had a really good PC, don't remember the specs, but I remember he had an Oculus Rift, so I'd guess he had a 1070, and he would put down others who had mid-range PCs, which included me and my friend, but let's start with the story. L, friend, me, EM, entitled mom, EK, entitled kid. This had happened during the school holidays for us, and decided to meet at a mall to play some video games together. You might ask why we didn't just play online, or just go to one of our houses, which was because he had really bad internet. This is in Australia. He doesn't have AC, and my parents don't like people over at our house. Plus I had some games that he didn't have and were pretty fun, so L decided to bring his laptop, and I told him I'd bring controllers, and also my external SSD which had games on it. I find L and we find a good quiet space, plug in earphones, plug in controllers and start playing. We're gaming for about 20 minutes having fun, and then I feel a tap on my shoulder. I turn around thinking it's someone we knew, and turns out it's a middle-aged woman. Hello, can I help you? I see you guys are playing games, could I soon join you guys? She points at her kid and see it's the kid that used to go to my school that me and L hate. I didn't want to seem like an idiot, so I politely say to her, "Oh sorry, we only have 2 controllers and they're really expensive and don't want them damaged." Which was a lie, they were box 360 controllers. Please, his dog had just died and he's really sad. I've been to this kid's house before. He was an idiot for a group assignment, and no, he didn't have a dog. I'm sorry, but still these controllers are almost $200 and would hate to see them damaged. Another lie to get her to leave. Come on, stop being so selfish. Either way, you guys are too old for video games. Even though we're all the same age. I'm sorry, but I'm still going to have to say no, and I'm going to continue. Have a good day. Me and Elle put our earphones in and pick up our controllers. We resumed our game, and then we see the mother go behind Elle's laptop and grab it by the screen. Elle immediately throws his controller down and grabs his laptop by the keyboard. I was startled by this and froze. Then Elle says, "Dude, freaking help me." There was nothing I could really do, so my first thought was to grab her wrists and pull them apart from each other. A lot of people were watching at the moment and I saw some run off to grab security, I guess. So I go for her wrists and I get her off the laptop. "Don't you dare touch me, you little crap." Then she winds up to slap me. I noticed this, and my first thought was to tackle her to the ground. To be honest, I probably could have dodged her hand, but this was kind of a fight or flight moment, and me being high on adrenaline, I choose to fight. I tackle her to the ground, and she doesn't get up for a while. Then I hear, "Don't hurt her." EK starts running towards me and looks like he was going to throw a haymaker at me. With my basic Jujitsu and Judo skills, I'm able to hip toss EK to the ground and start applying a rare naked choke to try, and I see a security guard running towards me, and because of this, I let the kid go and stand up. Before I can tell the security guard what just happened, EM screams at the top of her lungs. "These little craps tried stealing my son's laptop and beat us up and assaulted me." I start thinking, Jesus Christ, she's definitely on something, and the security guard goes and pins me up against a wall and radios in to call police. Elle, being smart, remembers his laptop has a feature where he can save a recording of the last 10 or so minutes, and he knew his laptop's webcam mic would have recorded all the audio, so he saved the recording, and another security guard comes and pins him to a wall as well. It's not long before police arrive. They handcuff us to make sure we don't run and ask EM and EK about what happened. Us standing there handcuffed, I asked Elle if he saved the recording, and he did. I thought this will be good. Cops are done asking them about what happened. They come to us and ask us what happened. We tell them everything, and they say that they're gonna have to look at the security cameras. Elle mentions to them, "There's proof on the laptop, I can get it up for you." The cops agree to listen to the footage and realize that EM and EK were in the wrong. The cop uncuffs us and tells us to wait around a bit longer. They then handcuff EM, which puts her in a fit of rage. EK starts punching the cop in the stomach. They were pretty soft punches, so they put him in handcuffs as well. The cop tells us that they're sorry this happened to us and that we were free to leave. The two security guards that came and pinned us against a wall said they were sorry about what happened and told us that EM and EK will be banned from the mall, and if we would like we could get a $50 MasterCard gift card. Both me and Elle refused as it wasn't the security's fault. They really wanted us to take them, so in the end we just accepted them. We shake the security guard's hands and we leave. Ever since then I heard the kid lives with his dad now, which I know isn't an idiot, and his mom doesn't have visitation rights, and got 2.5 years for attempted robbery and assault of a minor, which I don't know if it's true, but the only punishment I know she got was a $200 compensation to Elle, as his laptop was damaged because of the incident, only cosmetic damage, nothing physical. But the best thing that's come out of this event is me knowing I won't be seeing either of them for a very long time. Such a great story. Hope you'll improve your jiu-jitsu skills. I would have let them hit me, so he would go to jail for endangering a minor. First of all, I want to specify that I am no longer 15, I'm 20 next week, so this happened about 4.5 years ago now. Anyone who is or has been a teen in a small town would know how hard it is to find stuff to do until you're old enough to go to the pub. So every Saturday me and my friend, we'll call her Ellie, would go to Starbucks and then wander around for an hour or two just finding crap to do. In our town, there's a big building that's kind of a library, but it's also used as a council building, so sometimes meeting or boring clerical crap happens there. We decide it's better than nothing, and we go inside to look for something to do, and eventually we find a table with art supplies and paper in a nice upstairs part of the building with lots of sun and away from people trying to read, so we could chat. This is clearly for small children, but we're so bored by this time that it seems like a good thing to do. We're just chatting quietly and doodling when EM and her child, who looks about 4 years old, comes past. EM looks kind of flustered, like she's late for something. She looks round and she sees me and Ellie. Her face lights up. "Oh girls. I'm so sorry to intrude, but could you possibly watch my daughter for a few minutes? I can't take her into my meeting." She seems flustered, so we agree to watch her daughter while she goes into the meeting. After all, it's only a few minutes, right? Wrong. After about 15 minutes we start exchanging glances. We don't want to say anything in front of the little girl, so eventually I send her off just a few feet away to play with a little doll I usually have as a keychain. I ask Ellie how long EM has been in her meeting, and Ellie checks her phone. It's been about 25 minutes at this point. The girl comes back, I help her draw the dolly etc., and overall she's actually a nice, well-behaved kid, but when it hits 40 minutes, I start worrying. We know EM hasn't abandoned her or anything because we're in clear view of the door and would know if she'd exited the room. Soon the kid starts asking, "Where's Mummy?" and other such questions. We just tell her to be patient and Mummy will be back in a minute. I thank my stars to this day that the kid was so polite and well behaved because I did not want to deal with a tantrum at this point. My main concern at this point is our own curfew. It's hitting about 5 p.m. and I'm meant to be home by 6 p.m. Yeah, I know, kind of a strict curfew, but there you have it. I text my mom to tell her the situation and her reply is something along the lines of, "Wow, she should pay you hourly at this point." I show it to my friend who laughs at it and then we just focus on keeping the child calm because she is starting to seem agitated. After a full hour, EM leaves the meeting room. She smiles at us, takes her daughter's hand and says, "Thanks girls." Very casually, as if she's only been gone for 5 minutes. Ellie then said as a joke, "No problem." She was super well behaved. Although OP's mum said we should charge babysitting next time. We just giggled, all ready to wave off EM and her daughter, when her face turns tomato red. "How dare you say that to me? My daughter isn't a chore. You should be thankful I trusted you with her. She's my little angel." Then she goes off for a while about how teenagers these days have absolutely no work ethic and are super entitled etc. before storming off, leaving us both flabbergasted. I made my curfew, though so all was good. That reaction tells me she knew she was pulling some crap, but assumed you wouldn't say anything back. You should have brought the kid to the meeting room and left. Well guys, that's it for today. If you end up enjoying this video please consider subscribing, and if you missed the last episode on the channel I'm gonna link it right here. The story is about a man who decided OP's dog is dangerous and assaulted her. Check this out if you haven't, and I'll see you in my next video.